My first question to you is an easy one. I like to start it off with a softball. What was your first job in the movie and TV industry?
Oh my gosh. I believe it was when I was 15 years old. I had a tiny role in a Lifetime movie called The Halifax Explosion back when I lived in Nova Scotia, Canada. So a long time ago.
What about, obviously, you direct mid century. What about Mike Stern's script made you want to direct this project?
For me, I was looking for something that had complexity. I knew that if I was going to do a horror movie, I didn't want it to be straight horror. I wanted something with like psychological tension. I wanted something that was within the thriller space that was sort of elevated and smart and sexy and dark and weird. And I liked that when Mike brought me that script, he was already familiar with my show Doomsday, and he understood that I'm really drawn to like cerebral, provocative material that I can visually play with. And he was just so willing to let me bring my own voice to the project, and wasn't like, there were so many people that when they're producing their own script, they're not able to let go enough in order to let you make something that stands on its own. But he was like not the person who's backseat directing. Like he was supporting me to go out there and make a movie that I'd be proud of. So yeah, it was just really cool to find a collaborator.
One of the things I think I found fascinating about the film was the different time frames that we have within the film. Was there any obstacles or challenges you had bringing some of those the older years to life on the screen?
Yes, because some of them in the script, they'd say that the flashback took place in, like, let's say 1981. Yet the character of Frederick Banner likes to keep his women entirely in this Mad Men era. So it becomes this thing of I'm having my production designer and my art team and hair and makeup wanting to push us toward like, a Stranger Things kind of look. And I'm like, no, like for this, they still need to look like these Stepford Wives, 1950s things. So it's like blending eras on screen and hoping that people understand what I'm going for. But that was really important to me.
Was there any challenge? The cinematography to me is also stands out. It's very beautiful in the film. Is there challenges when it comes to trying to bring up those different eras with those colors?
Yes, because I'm not somebody who likes to go in the color grade and do like an artificial sepia to make something look like we shot it in yesteryear. Like it was really important to me that we're still finding stuff, colors within the palette of the modern world, but just making them like a little brighter or something that makes us feel like it's a throwback, but in a way that like makes you feel it emotionally, not just like doing something for a gimmick. Like I'm obsessed with color as a filmmaker, obsessed, obsessed, obsessed. And like I was just working with my team to try to find a way to bring these ideas that are in my head to life. And like my production designer, Zach Bangma, is a genius. And like there were times that I was like, I won't shoot another white wall. So he built full walls in the middle of another room and wallpapered them in vintage wallpaper and is aging the wallpaper to look of the era. And that's something where I'm like, God, I wasn't able to do that on the little indies I've shot before. I have people that deeply care and have the, prowess and budget to be able to like make these things a bit of a reality, you know?
This cast is loaded. You know what I mean? From Stephen Lang, Shane West, Vanessa Williams, Bruce Dern. What's it like working with this ensemble?
It was intimidating. Like when you go into set on day one, I was a little bit frightened, like Bruce Dern is a legend. And I had heard so many stories about like working with, these like cast members that are really esteemed, and that you have to like connect with them on day one or you sort of have lost them on as a director. But I have to say that people were really warm and kind. Like Stephen Lang is a Shakespearean trained actor's actor, like actor's studio dude. And he was just wanting to know at all times, he would check in with me and be like, am I achieving your vision? And I'm like, dude, like you're killing it. Like it's an honor to get to direct you. But he was like, treats you the same as he would treat the most established directors. Like he wants to know what you're trying to accomplish and he's there to do it. And Bruce Dern does a super fun thing called a Dernsey, where at the end of the take, you keep on rolling and he's going to improv for like 10 minutes and he's going to be hysterically funny. And like, you can't cut him off. And like, there was just so many moments where I was pinching myself and, you know, he's just being really brilliant and making me look great. But like so much of that is just Bruce's natural sort of like effervescence on camera.
Is there anybody he's like he just has that villainous face to him? Like it's just so easy, right? Like it just
Yeah.
when because like when you watch him in this movie, he's terrifying, right? You know what I mean? Like but it's a lot of that facial terrifying at the same time because he's got the face, but like what's it kind of like bringing a villain to life in this type of film?
I mean, it's really fun because you don't want to play one-dimensional villains, and both Stephen Lang, who plays villains all the time and does it expertly, and Bruce Dern, who has like, you know, this sort of cadence and the way that he says things that just sort of like is a little like creepy. And like both of these guys don't want to repeat themselves, right? Like they want to do things that are new and feel creatively challenging. And with Bruce, you would have to pitch him ideas and he would be like, talk to me about why this makes sense for the script and why it's not just like something you're throwing at me. Just, you know, he's not a dancing monkey and he like loves his art. And there were times that I'd be like, well, and I'd have to reference things. I'd be like, on page 6 in the description, your character does and says this, and this is why I think this. And he'd be like, very good, very good. And he'd like tell you stories of like working with Hitchcock and Tarantino. And it was just very cool. Like he's such a force. But he was also, they're all just really like willing to like take direction and they will do whatever it takes to make the movie good. Like they want to make good work, you know?
You have a loaded cast, but Chelsea Gillian, she kind of stole the show for me. She's like really good in this movie. And I just want to tell me more about her, working with her and kind of how she fit in the big dynamic.
Chelsea was the last person that was cast, and there was an actress who dropped out because of logistical reasons 2 days before filming. And we had to find Chelsea. It like our casting director, Christy Lugo, is insanely amazing because she found us all of these actors, and it's like the 11th hour. And Shane is, you know, an EP. Shane West is an EP on the movie too, and he gets final say on casting for his love interest. And I didn't want to find somebody who was beautiful and one-dimensional. Like it was really important to me that this actress could freaking act, right? Because she is a movie about feminism, yet she's going toe-to-toe with these serious heavy hitters. And when Chelsea came in, she was just had this natural, funny, like throwaway kind of like energy. Like she's somebody who's obviously drop dead gorgeous, but does not know that she is. Like she's not interested in playing any stereotype like that. And she's just really willing to like go there. And her and Shane had instant chemistry. And she was just willing to really work with me because I didn't have time to rehearse with her. So there were times on set that I would have her do more takes than the other actors because she just came to the movie late in the production. And she would just work with me and do a bunch of takes and get more and more emotionally connected. And when I got to have my scene with her as an actress in the film, she was just really giving and gentle and warm. She's a good person and a great actress. So everyone hire Chelsea Gilligan. I really recommend her.
It's incredible to even find out that she was brought that late into the game and still does an incredible job in the film. It's not an easy thing to do, obviously, and especially again, we're not talking about acting next to just average Joes either. So it's brilliant. I love Shane West too. He's amazing.
He's a really good actor. Like I want Shane to get all the giant roles again because I think he's just a really special person too. He's been really supportive of me.
Yeah, it's incredible like that he's not anymore. You know what I mean? Like he's been in a couple things that I've watched recently and he's just such a good actor. My final question to you is what's it like directing yourself?
It's interesting, right? Because like I came up as an actor, then I started directing then I started writing projects that I was acting in. And then the final thing about 3 projects in was directing myself. And I think you can't have vanity. Like it's the one time that I'm not looking at the monitor and that I'm working very closely with my cinematographer and trusting him. And we've shot listed everything before. We know what I'm trying to achieve. I've rehearsed with the actors. And when I'm rehearsing a scene that I'm acting in, that's the one time I'm not directing the other actor and I'm trusting their instincts. Because I think at the end of the day, you need to feel like 2 collaborators in that scene and not like there's a power dynamic difference. And it's just like having faith in the actors around you and not micromanaging. And I love doing it. But for this, it was my last 4 days on set. So the rest of the 20 something days of shooting, I was able to like look terrible on set, hair in a ponytail, no makeup, and like, sweating it out under the COVID restrictions. And then in the last few days, I get to be glam and be the actor too. But yeah, for me, it's separating it.